Rick may be a brave man, but it takes two brave men to review and rank these episodes. Welcome back to Fog Entertainment. We're here to rank all 6 episodes for the ones who live. We're going to start in 6th place because when you're going from last to first, you're going to have to do that. But funny enough, 6th place belongs to the finale. I've seen people bash us in the comments of a review. How can you complain about a happy ending? I'll tell you how I'll complain about a happy ending, because it was rushed. It wasn't very good, and we gave it a 3.5 out of 10, which, if you're good with math, that's pretty low, isn't it? I mean, that is pretty bad.
Yeah, not great there, but it wasn't a great episode, so I think it was deserving of it. Just a letdown. We go into this, I mean, you go into the finale expecting to learn more about Beale, expecting fight back for the CRM after Jadis died, and it literally didn't happen. Rick and Michonne go back in, take care of everybody, wipe everybody out, no, with ease, to be fair. And then they just return home and happily ever after, and it's if so Rick being away for 7 years, the brave man, he needed his wife to come and save him and rescue him. Yeah. Pathetic. This is Rick Grimes, man. Officer friendly. Cold as ice, officer friendly. And the guy that rips throats out and shit, yeah, he stayed in this fucking camp for 7 years.
Yeah, I think the finale pretty much undermined the past 5 episodes that they'd built up the CRM. Because you've just got Rick and Michonne dismantling the entire organisation here within like 10 minutes. Very rushed. We're not the only ones that think it was rushed. And people that complain that it was the good ending, just because it's the happy ending doesn't mean it's good though.
You didn't want a happy ending, so...
Like, I mean, there's a lot of TV shows out there, right, where... if it was the happy ending, no one died in the season finale, it would probably suck. Like, there's a lot of TV shows where it just makes sense for it to be, like, for people to die. Like, yeah, you know, you like characters, like, Rick is the main character. I didn't want him to die, but I felt like, you do feel like if he lost his wife here, or if he died, it just would have made for a better finale. But anyway, folks, that's it for 6th place. 3.5 out of 10. Not very good there. Coming up, though, in 5th place, we have got episode 4. We have got Become, with a 4.5 rating out of 10. This episode was pretty much Rick and Michonne bitching and moaning and bitching and moaning and bitching and moaning to each other for 45 minutes. And then the other 5 minutes was them two trying to get on top of each other in a yellow, bright-ass yellow car, SUV. Didn't do it for me. It just... It was the beginning of the downfall for this TV show. I think episode 1 delivered. The next 2 episodes were good. But then this one, it just... the wokeness started to go up to 100.
It was a full episode of Michonne just bashing Rick for not coming home.
Justified, by the way, but Rick's reasons were just pathetic. I wanted to dream about Coral. I wanted to dream about my boy. But then when I leave the place, the CRM, I don't dream about my boy. No, Rick, you're pathetic, son. Know your role. I mean, it's like wit. Rick's been away for 6 years, right? They thought about movies, they came up with this TV show, and this is the best explanation why Rick couldn't come back. It's pathetic. Why not just make it that he was a prisoner here? He couldn't leave. He was like Negan at Alexandria. He was in a prison cell. That's much more believable. The fact that I couldn't leave because my son.
Yeah, but see when we actually see how, in fact, easy it is for Rick to actually leave, and then they're just making you believe that, well, here, Rick couldn't escape in 7 years, but Michonne could escape pretty much whenever she wanted. You know, you're thinking, really?
Yeah, it's just not
like,
good.
It was way too easy for them to escape in the end. By the end of it, it almost made you believe that Rick could have escaped if he truly wanted to.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing for me. It just makes Rick...
Like, the first 3 episodes were led to believe that it's this, like, impenetrable camp, and you cannot escape. Like, they're too good, they're too powerful, you can't take them down. And then, like, as soon as Rick decides, you know what, he's going to team up with Michonne, they easily just, like, seem to overwhelm the CRM, and I don't know, I didn't like it.
Did not like it whatsoever. And then 4th place, we've got episode 5, Become. This got a 5 out of 10. I mean, again, this episode, you get flashbacks with Jadis and Father Gabriel. I think there's a lot of content in this episode, but we've touched on it before. I think the cat and mouse game between Jadis and Rick and Michonne is pathetic. Like, she literally has them at gunpoint, right? They're both in bed, and they somehow get the upper hand on her. They chase her, then she chases them, and then it's like, well, let's spend 20 minutes of Jadis giving, like, a dialogue. I don't care.
And I just didn't understand why, after Rick and Michonne blamed Jadis for stealing Rick's time away from his family, they were desperate, hell-bent on killing Jadis. As soon as they actually get in a position to kill Jadis and she's going to die, like, it's very emotional and they feel bad, and it's like, why? Like, why did they all of a sudden go from caring about Jadis? Like, it made no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, like, Jadis was portrayed as such a bad person, and you know what? You look at the finale, it even confirms it because she actually did have documents to wipe out Alexandria.
Yeah,
it wasn't a bluff.
Wasn't empty threats.
Yeah, it was an actual threat. So it's like, why did they spend 10 minutes? Oh, I'm a good person. Oh, she's in there, Michonne, Jane, Anne. Anne is in there. No.
But she wasn't a good person in the original show when she sold them out in the first place.
Yeah.
She sold them out to the Saviour.
No, so she's been a bad person for the start. I'm not buying this.
When was her and Rick ever really, in this alliance, these good terms? I don't quite understand. We also had the introduction of that freeway group that were shit. We get Father Gabriel coming back for no reason whatsoever, really, other than just have a few flashbacks with Jadis. They set it up as if we were going to get Father Gabriel in the finale, and well, that was a bit of a dampener. Like,
well, I mean, could he
done a no-show?
Could have improved it probably, but maybe had his collar felt for such a shit performance in episode 5. But anyway, coming in third place on the podium spot, we've got a 6 out of 10 episode, and it is episode 2. We've got Gone. We've got pretty much Michonne's journey to Rick. We meet the characters of Aiden, Bailey. We've got Nat in there. You've also got the woman that leads the caravan. Just some weird ass gypsy group, but again, like, the timeline this episode, I thought it was all over the place. Like, Nat and Michonne actually spent a year recovering from chlorine gas. What? Where the fuck did that come from?
Rick completely no-sold it. Didn't even affect Rick.
Yeah, and then at the end of the episode, Nat just dies, and it's like, alright.
And I actually liked Nat. He was an okay character. It's just a shame that they didn't keep those
No, but
characters around
Rick
for longer.
disposed of him like you would dispose of a bit of dog shit on the bottom of your shoe.
Yeah, and like, I don't think it was a good place to kill him because Michonne was overwhelmed by just meeting Rick, and maybe that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to, like, give her something good, but then take something away from her that she cared about. But, it almost felt like she was just that happy to see Rick that Nat's death didn't have a big impact on her. I think that if they'd saved Nat's death for episode 3, or at least the very ending of episode 2, where we've already seen the initial Rick and Michonne, like, reuniting, I think that would have worked better.
Yeah.
But how is Michonne really supposed to get that upset about Nat when she just met Rick? It's like, I'm sure that if Rick and Okafor were out on a mission and some random person killed Okafor, Rick might have been a little bit upset. But I say might because he wasn't upset about Thorne. But I think by that point Rick kind of liked Okafor a bit.
Yeah.
I think Rick could have felt bad and sorrow for Okafor's death, but not when you introduce Michonne, like, literally a couple of minutes after it.
Yeah, I think that's the
So I think both of those deaths were massively overshadowed by the fact that they came at the point where Rick and Michonne reunited. It was like two big characters, but they don't mean fucking nothing because the two biggest characters have finally reunited after, 8 years. I thought it was a bad time to kill them both, but whatever.
No, it is. Yeah, it's like, it would be like, it's hard to explain. It's almost like if Glenn and Abraham died before they even introduced Negan. It's weird. Like, I think that's where writers have got to take responsibility, and it's like Scott Gimple had a big part in this, so did Andrew Lincoln. It's like, surely that's not the best way to write a TV show, because it's just completely overshadowed Nat and Okafor, especially Nat for me. Like, at least when Okafor died,
it was kind of like inexploded. There was nothing really he could do.
And we didn't know, like, Rick hadn't, like, Michonne doesn't see Rick till like 5 minutes later. Like, Rick and Michonne have reunited. Nat gets shot and that's it.
Okafor I mean, if you had to compare his death to someone, I guess it's a little bit like the lemon-headed sucker, the SOA.
Kozik?
Yeah, Kozik, where he kind of dies and it's sad, but it just happens out of fucking nowhere, where there's not much time to initially react, because it's such a shocking and out-of-nowhere death. Whereas it's like Nat's dying there, and I mean, it's almost like Rick's looking on, and he's kind of like, "Here, Michonne, why do you even care about this guy? You should be more bothered the fact that we're back together." But
Yeah, they should be. But coming in second place, we've got episode 3 by, we gave this 6 out of 10. Again, it was pretty much Michonne and Rick. They're loving life in the CRM, but Rick's trying to send her on her own way. He can't leave the CRM. Michonne, I've gotta stay here. You gotta go. But yeah, they're trying to get, Dana, that's the name they're trying to play Michonne as. They're trying to get her to play it cool, not show that you're a proper badass, but she is showing that. Beale's not really doing much. Then at the end of the episode, she wings Rick out of the helicopter into the water. So 6 out of 10. I mean, I think this and episode 2 are very similar.
yeah, episode 2 and episode 3, not that much to pick between them. You know, we could rewatch them back, and I'd maybe change my mind on which one I prefer.
See, that's the problem though. Like in episode 3 and 4, is like there's just like no introduction of any new characters.
Yeah,
It's, like you've got the CRM, and it's like you actually you've got Thorne and Beale is like the two people who are actually in it, and that's all we know. But yeah, I got a 6 out of 10. But coming in the first spot, man, it's a shame, but we kind of knew when the premiere came out it was not going to be top, didn't we? We said it at the time, and that's exactly what happened. We've got Years, we've got episode 1, we gave it a 7 out of 10. Directed by Bert and Bertie. Now, they actually directed the first 2 episodes, so maybe they should have stayed on for the rest of the show.
Maybe. What happened to those guys?
What happened to Bert and Bertie, buddy? But yeah, a great premiere. I mean, Rick cutting his hand off, but I think it just showed you the pacing, though. Like, Rick cut his hand off after, 6 minutes this episode. But then you've got other episodes, like episode 4, that's so slow. It's just these two arguing with each other. And then you've got the finale, which is like 3,000 people getting wiped out. I think when you've got 6 episodes, man, I think you've got to nail the pacing. I think that's the problem with this show. The pacing's all over the place. You can't have an episode the same length as the finale, but have Rick and Michonne just talk for 40 minutes, and then have a finale where so much happens crammed in. And I think that's the problem. This show, it averaged out at a 5.33 out of 10, which is quite low. I mean, a lot of people would probably say, oh, it was near perfect, I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. I'm sorry, it was nowhere near perfect. Like, a lot of characters they introduced, like, see Okafor, we hyped them up. Yeah, he was in one episode. Same with Nat. But realistically, see apart from Rick and Michonne, who are we going to be talking about in years to come? Like, who's going to be ranking high in a tier list for The Walking Dead at their debut in this show? No one.
I just don't think Okafor or Nat were around long enough.
Yeah. I mean, they could maybe sneak like a C grade and an over, but you're in one episode. I'm sorry.
I mean, if you're doing a Walking Dead, you're ranking every character on the Walking Dead universe. Is there any new characters from this show breaking into the top 50? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so, no.
I just don't think there's anyone in it long enough to break into the top 50.
Yo, it's hard to...
I was actually bummed when they killed Okafor. I'm thinking, right, great character here. Then next thing you know, blows up, dead, and you're thinking, what? He's just been the main character for episode 1. I mean, it was kind of out of the blue, I guess, if you want to go down that route. I mean, it was a surprise, and that, I guess, in a way, that's sort of good. Rather than just, having the same predictable stuff, but I don't know. I think, maybe it's because it was only one season as well. They wanted to kill him quickly, but for me, if you're going to introduce a good character, gotta give us a couple of episodes of him before you kill him.
Yeah, no, you've got to, but they didn't, and yeah,
they had potential to be a good character, but it's like, can you really say he was a good character with the limited amount of time that he had? I don't know. But yeah, episode 1 premiere, really good, and unfortunately after that, it did start slowly going downhill, and the second half of the season for me reminded me more of just the latter stages of The Walking Dead. Not enjoyable to watch, and I think after 3 episodes, for me, I didn't see how this one wouldn't be the best of the spin-offs. However, after finishing the show, I'm not even sure if it's still the best of the 3.
I would say it is, but I would say the level, the gaps are nowhere near as big as I thought it once would be.
I would probably need to rewatch Daryl Dixon in Dead City. I've only seen them once each.
I'm not going to do that though.
You haven't even seen the finale, Daryl Dixon.
I need to watch that.
So I'm not gonna. I don't know, but for me, this one was head and shoulders above the other two at the beginning. What I would say is about the other two is I don't know if I wouldn't say the Daryl Dixon one dropped off though. I think the Daryl Dixon one was a little bit consistent throughout.
Yeah, this peaked.
I mean, Dead City, I think definitely peaked in episode 1.
Yeah.
I will say actually, Dead City did drop off in the last few episodes. To be fair,
I did say it was shite.
so I don't know. Is this the best of the spin-offs? Possibly, but there's not much in it. It was run away with after the first half, second half, not so much.
Not so much, guys. But anyway, that's where we're going to leave this video. Back very soon to rank characters and deaths. There wasn't many deaths, but here, we'll get to them nonetheless. Till then, peace.